En Bethléem, les trois rois Good afternoon. Do I have to switch it on? This one? Okay. Good afternoon. Dear Thai, dear brothers and sisters, dear friends, good afternoon. Today is Thursday, the 24th of December, and it's Christmas Eve, and we are in the Stillwater Hall in the Dharma Cloud Temple in Plum Village. In Plum Village, we like to celebrate life. In fact, we like celebrations, as you may have noticed already. Because celebrations is watering our seeds of joy. And we have created many festivals that we celebrate throughout the year. And it has become a Plum Village tradition. And where we have a tradition, we have roots. And roots is where we belong. So just to give you an overview of the festivals. In spring, we have the Daffodil Festival here in Upper Hamlet, on the slopes over there. And we have the Plum Blossom Festival in the Lower Hamlet, where we have about 1,250 plum trees. And they're grown organically, and the proceeds of the harvest go to our Hungry Children project in Vietnam. We have Vietnamese New Year, lasts 1 week. I invite you all, because it's really something to experience. It is a festival of expressing our gratitude to our parents, our grandparents, our teachers, blood teachers and spiritual teachers. And basically it is getting together. So here in Plum Village, as lay friends, you do not visit the monastic quarters, and as sisters, we do not visit the quarters of the monks, and the monks do not visit the quarters of the nuns. But during Vietnamese New Year, we are invited into the monastic quarters of the monks and the nuns. And when we're invited, they treat us to tea and all kinds of treats. It's very nice. It's in February next year, around the 5th to the 11th, something like that. Just so you can plan, you can put it in your agenda. It is really a very good brother and sisterhood building. It is really wonderful. We also have Vesak, where we celebrate the birth of Siddhartha, who was later known as the Buddha, the one who awakened, who realized the root of suffering and found the way out of suffering, and then offered that to the world. And that's what we're doing here too, looking into our suffering, what are the roots and where's the way out. In the summer we have a full moon festival, like the full moon now, but in the summer. A rose festival where we honor our parents, and in particular our mothers. And we have an earth or a peace festival. We have an ancestors festival where we express our gratitude to our blood and spiritual ancestors, and where we touch our roots and our source. And in autumn we have Thanksgiving. We express our gratitude to Mother Earth for holding and nourishing and healing all. It's a festival that is more celebrated in the United States, but we are getting to know the festival, and at least we're starting with pumpkin pie. I think that's a very good start already. And then in the winter we are now starting to celebrate Santa Lucia, which is celebrated in Sweden. And and it's also the light coming into the darkness. And we've celebrated a few times with the procession of light. And it's also a festival that, or an opportunity to look after the elderly and the sick, the orphans. They're visited, they bring young ladies, bring light in a candlelight procession to these places. It's very beautiful. A number of us celebrate Advent, where we get together in preparation of the coming of Christ, the light in the world, again bringing light in the darkness. And today, or a few days ago, we had the winter solstice, but we're celebrating it today also. And today is Christmas Eve, the birth of Christ. And we end the year with the New Year celebration. This is a beginning anew, there are new possibilities, and the renewal of our aspiration in life. There you all look. So, as our Sangha grows, the list of festivals grow. We are very inclusive. We like to celebrate life. And it is really going back to our roots, creating a tradition that we can always come back to, and honoring all traditions. At times we have celebrated Hanukkah in individual hamlets. It's also very nice. So all these are opportunities to water our seeds of joy and allow ourselves to be nourished. And during this time, now where we've just gone beyond the longest night, and the days are getting longer and the night shorter, and we are celebrating the coming of light, bringing the light in the darkness, and also to find our way home. It is a period where many people travel in order to go home, to go to where they feel comfortable, understood, accepted, loved, and they gather together. We know that right now there are many people traveling on foot and other means, having to leave their country because of war or violence, and they're looking for a home and for a roof over their head and somewhere to lay their head. We may like to listen to the sound of the bell and just bring to mind all those who are traveling, those who have to leave their homeland and who are looking for a new home. We can go back to our breathing and generate the energy of compassion, understanding and inclusiveness, and send this out into the universe. So this is a time we go home to ourselves, where we go inward, where we go back to ourselves to be with ourselves, where we light up the candle in our heart so that we can see what is happening inside of us. At the moment we are in our winter retreat. It's a 3-month retreat, and this dates from the time of the Buddha. In the time of the Buddha, the monastics, the monks and the nuns, they were mendicants. That's to say, they traveled around on foot and they offered the Dharma, the practice, to those who asked for it and who they met. And in return, they received some food to sustain themselves. But for 3 months of the year, there is the rainy season, the monsoon, where there's a lot of rain, which means floods, which means it's dangerous to travel. There's a great chance of falling ill, hepatitis and typhoid. There are also many little creatures that may be just in the mud and accidentally, they could step on them and maybe crush 1 or 2 or more of these creatures. And we do our best not to kill any beings. So the Buddha advised and said, for these 3 months we're not going to go anywhere. We're all going together in various places to practice together as a Sangha. It was also a good opportunity where the elders could teach the younger ones and could maybe correct a little bit if their practice had slipped. They could also help them on their path of transformation. And then at the end of the 3 months, every single member of the community would receive what is called feedback or shining light from the rest of the community. One by one, they would come in front of the community and everybody would give feedback on what they had seen, heard, or suspected. So it's been a tradition ever since then for the monastics to gather at least once a year for 3 months to be together and not to go anywhere. So that is this particular time now. We do it in the winter. And in this time we determine boundaries. We stay within certain boundaries. These are physical boundaries, and they're made known at the beginning of the retreat. And we don't go outside of the boundaries. We don't go and give retreats or go somewhere for one reason or another. We go shopping, yes. So we make that inside of our boundaries. If we have to go to Saint-Foy, then we can go to Saint-Foy to shop or to pick up friends from the station. And it's very interesting to practice with these boundaries, the physical boundaries, and it really helps us to see when we want to run away from ourselves. When we just want to hop into a car and go somewhere, anywhere. As long as we can go somewhere, not be where we are. So, but we cannot. So as we cannot physically go outside of the boundaries, we are faced with what is happening inside of us. We can't run away. We can't cover it up by one thing or another. So that's what we do in this winter retreat. We don't run away. We stay, and we stay with what is happening inside of us or around us. It's really an opportunity to look into what is actually happening for us that we may not necessarily notice during the rest of the year. But here we do. We're all together. the first year we practiced this, it was quite a challenge because we were used to go for long walks, you know. And the first year the sisters did this, we were in the New Hamlet. So with those of you who live in the New Hamlet or who know the New Hamlet, our boundaries were the field where the meditation hall is. And then we could go up on the road that runs along that field as far as the top of the hill, as long as you could still see the New Hamlet. So for 3 months we were within those boundaries. Can you believe that? Would you like to do that again? Maybe. Yeah. So a number of us, we would go out for a walk on lazy day and we would walk around that field. The meditation hall wasn't there yet, you know. So we would walk around and around and around. And I thought, maybe I should walk in the other direction, otherwise I may get dizzy. You know, it's not that big. I walk around. Yeah. It was a practice. We're still here. We got some insight. We can also sit with what is happening and allow it just to be there and suffering. In our monastic retreat, get guidance. During the also receive shining. The individual Hamlets each have their own way of doing this, but basically we get feedback on our practice as a monastic. As a monastic, we have fine manners and precepts. We get feedback on that aspect, and we get feedback on how we attend the activities of the Sangha and how we live in the Sangha. Do we live harmoniously with our brothers and sisters? It's very interesting. So we get this feedback, and you know, there's something called perceptions, and perceptions can be right. They can be partially right, but most of them are wrong. So listening to shining light, it may happen that we think that is a wrong perception of that sister, or maybe brother. Since most of the perceptions are wrong, this one is definitely wrong. I mean, I know. Then, as we continue to practice, we realize what we thought was a wrong perception is actually a blind spot. Something we don't see ourselves, but that is definitely there. And then our indignation about that is definitely, no, that's the wrong perception, becomes kind of gratitude. Well, thank you for pointing it out. Now I know what to practice with. And that's exactly why we get shining light. It's to see our way ahead and our path ahead clearly. And it is a very nourishing practice. It is like we step into a room that has mirrors all around, all the walls and the ceiling also. There is a temple in Rangoon, in Burma, that has mirrors all around. And when I stepped in there, I looked and went, ooh, this is interesting. So when we get shining light, it's like stepping into that room, or in fact, living in the Sangha is like living in a room full of mirrors. And like I said, we think of wrong perception, and we're also very quick to say, oh, that's one of those funny mirrors. You know, you have at the fair that sort of distorts your face, you know? And that one also. That one is pretty right. You know? That's very interesting. So for our lay friends who are here, you may have noticed this. Sangha life is very nourishing, but there's no escape from ourselves. And that is wonderful, because then we know exactly where we are. In 2014, we had some Christian nuns coming to visit us. We have connections with some Christian monasteries. These nuns had been nuns for 40 years or more, and we had tea with them and some of our sisters, among which very new novices. And then one of the nuns asked the novices, what is the most challenging aspect of monastic life? And the novices were all sitting there. And of course, my head immediately, I had the answer, and I thought, but you novices, you can't complain to me about this aspect all the time. And you don't know what the sister is referring to? And they just were puzzled. And then the nun said, community life. Right? I see some of the younger ones nodding. Yes, because it's so challenging to live in a room full of mirrors. But it is also very, very nourishing. And luckily, we have our basic practices that help us to live in this room full of mirrors. In fact, without the basic practice, it would be pretty difficult. We have lovely practices. And one of the basic practices is to always come back to our in-breath and out-breath. It is almost boring to hear this, but, right? Brother Kelly? Brother Kelly, Venerable Kelly reminded us of this too the other day. But it is the foundation of our life. Going back to our in-breath and out-breath. And by going back to our in-breath and out-breath, we're bringing our mind back to our body. And the body is the true home of our mind. When we turn our attention to our in-breath and out-breath, it means we're turning our attention away from something else. And that something else very often is a worry, a strong emotion, irritation, anxiety, fear, a wrong perception, some preoccupation. So going back to our in and out breath, it means one moment of respite, one moment of a moment of peace. Maybe we can practice this with the sound of the bell. To leave aside, let's just leave aside the world. Let the world just be for a moment. Let's just turn our attention to our breathing and enjoy the breathing that is happening. We don't need to breathe in and out. It happens all by itself. So let's just enjoy being with this happening. when I started practicing, I practiced quite a bit of sitting meditation. I enjoyed sitting and walking also. And one day, when I came out of the sitting meditation, when the bell was invited, I noticed that I was smiling, and I thought, that's strange. I wasn't smiling when I started sitting. Now I'm smiling. And I thought, this is neat. I will do this from the beginning. When I sit, I will sit down and smile. And I noticed when I did that, my sitting was very peaceful, exactly like it was when I practiced sitting and I came out of the sitting with a smile on my face. This was before I came to Plum Village. And when I arrived in Plum Village that first summer in 1990, the most popular song at that time, at least in the lower Hamlet, was in, out, deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment. And I thought, yeah, I have arrived, I'm home. This is where I belong. I like that song even now, as well as I have arrived, I'm home, that came a little bit later. At that time there were friends who came to Plum Village who knew that I had been practicing more sitting, and they used to ask me, don't you miss the sitting? Because in Plum Village they don't do much sitting. And I reflected and I thought, no. Because when I came, and the first day that Thai gave a talk, I got it. Here we practice walking meditation in exactly the same spirit as we practice sitting, mindfully, coming back to the present moment. And I practiced that, and I didn't miss the sitting. And then as I stayed on, a number of years, 6, 7 later, I started to think, I have to sit more. And I thought, strange, why do I think this? I thought, maybe, let me see what is happening in my practice. And I saw that my walking meditation was not as nourishing as it was when I came. I started to walk and think and think. Can you imagine it? Walk and think at the same time. I don't know if it ever happens to you, but I thought, okay, that is why I have this idea, I need sitting. But I can say, no, I think I need walking. I have to retrieve my walking meditation as it was before. It's not the same, and it is the same. Yeah. And I did, and it is my favorite practice. I also enjoy sitting. But since we walk so much throughout the day, it's a practice I can do anytime. And then here, especially in Plum Village, to walk on the grounds, and they're so beautiful. Maybe you should look, I'm sure somewhere we have pictures of how the Upper Hamlet used to be. Very different. Not so many trees. This has become so beautiful. And I think one of the things that makes it so beautiful is the energy. It is not just the trees and the grounds, but it's the energy that has been generated on these grounds while we walk, and while so many other people come and walk with us, mindfully enjoying, touching the earth with our feet, caressing the earth, expressing our gratitude to Mother Earth. Tenak. Tenak is Tenak. Yeah. But what makes Tenak Plum Village is our walking meditation. If nobody would be here to practice walking meditation, Tenak would not be Plum Village. Plum Village means walking meditation. Thai has told us a number of times, if you do not practice walking meditation, you cannot say you live in Plum Village or you have visited Plum Village. Because being in Plum Village, living in Plum Village or visiting Plum Village means tasting the joy of walking meditation. And this is also something beautiful. That this makes Plum Village mobile. That's a very popular thing to have, something that's mobile. Huh? So please remember there is a mobile version of Plum Village. And it is free for you to take wherever you go. Take it home with you. And wherever the practice is walking meditation, that is where Plum Village is manifested. In the early 90s, maybe 92 or 93, at that time, a Thai and a number of the monastics were not yet allowed to go back to Vietnam. But some lay friends went to Vietnam and they went to visit Thai's root temple. And they walked around the root temple. And then a young monk came up to them and said, "Are you from Plum Village?" And they said, "This was lay people, a couple." And they said, "Yes." "Why do you ask? How do you know?" And he said, "We can tell by your walking." They knew about walking meditation and they could tell you must be from Plum Village. So they were very happy to meet each other. So we enjoy our walking meditation. We enjoy stopping when we hear sound of the bell. And when we stop, and truly stop being carried away by our thinking and emotions, and come back to the present moment, and be established in the here and now, having lit up the candle of mindfulness in our heart, at that moment something changes. Because we are truly present, we can truly see what is happening, what is present in us, what is actually asking for our attention, our care, our love, and what is happening around us. And it can very well be that we've been talking to someone, we've been listening deeply, we thought, but now that we've stopped and we're truly present and we look, maybe in the eyes of the person in front of us, we see that they're trying to say something in between the lines. So we hear what is being said and unsaid. And that hearing that unsaid, to hear that, we have to be fully present. So when we stop, and really stop, something changes. We become more present for ourselves and for others, and we can take better care of ourselves and others. So our practice is always to go back to the present moment, always to bring our mind home to our body. Well, I came in 1990, and Brother Phakdan was also there at that time already. And I never get tired of hearing Thai say, breathing in, breathing out. And at a certain point, somewhere at the late 90s, I thought, dear Thai, I actually do not need to hear anything else. this is enough for me to practice for the rest of my life, and maybe lifetimes to come. Breathing in and breathing out and come back to the present moment. But I'm very happy that Thai continues to teach. Anyway, and I listen anyway. I allow the seed of insight to be watered. So we have all the bells, we have our practice of walking, our practice of sitting. When I go into the meditation hall in the morning, I sit down and I first settle my body and allow myself to arrive on the cushion. You know, it's kind of this sinking feeling. You know that? You sink onto your cushion. I've arrived. Yeah. And then I try to stay. Sometimes I feel myself, it's as if I'm always, so I can't call it levitating. It is like I'm always almost off my cushion because my thoughts are carrying me so far away. And then I think, oh wait, let me just breathe and come back and sink back onto my cushion. How's my body? Am I relaxed, sitting upright? Am I sitting forward, maybe nodding? Yeah. Is my chin sticking out, trying too hard? Am I slumping, sleeping? Am I twisting my thumbs, lost in thoughts? Yeah. Very interesting, the body language tells us a lot. So I like to relax and become aware of my body. And at times, I like to keep this awareness of body throughout the whole time of sitting. And when the mind drifts off, you just come and bring it back. It's the first home of the mind. It's very pleasant to be there. And before I leave the hall, you know, when we have time to massage our legs and things like that, I sort of reflect a moment. Yes. Okay, I just reflect to see what happened. Just for the record, without any kind of evaluation. Just what was happening. Okay. At other times I observe my thoughts. And when I notice I'm thinking the same thought for the umpteenth time, from beginning to end, I sort of think, you know, I've thought that thought enough. It's getting boring. You know, maybe you just leave it to the side. There's been a period where I took a piece of paper and a pen with me, and every time I noticed a thought, I would write it down. And then, oh, I've already thought that thought, I would put a little, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, that kind of thing. I just want to see which thought do I think the most. Which thought that I notice do I think the most, because I don't catch all my thoughts. It's very interesting to see what's on my mind. You know, something I need to do. You know, procrastination, you know, pushing it forward. I think maybe if I just do it, you know, then I'll be free, you know, and so much lighter. The letter that I forgot to post, you know, an email I still need to answer. You know. Somebody is waiting to see me. When will I be able to do my laundry? It's been raining for a whole week already. We have one washing machine for 65 sisters or something, or 40, 43. These are the troubles of a monastic. Don't worry, the laundry get washed and dried and everything. But you can spend a good time thinking about that during the sitting meditation, as if I have nothing else to do. So when I notice I'm in a period where I have a lot of these thoughts, then before we have sitting, I reflect a little bit like which guided meditation would be helpful at this period in time for me. And then I take that guided meditation and I do it. And maybe I do it for a whole week, not every day, because we have some guided meditations that are given by the sisters behind the bell, or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I have very good experience with that. It is very calming, soothing. So in this practice, in the 3 months rains retreat, in one of the 3 months rains retreat, the Buddha advised his disciples to practice going back to the island within. Because the Buddha had been ill just before that, and some of the disciples had gotten anxious and fearful about a possibility of losing the presence of the Buddha. So this island within is when we go back to ourselves and when we light up the candle of mindfulness within us. And it is something that I do now. I think it's something that's very good to do in this period of time. To go back to the island within, to find stability and freedom. Our anger, our fear, our sadness, our anxiety, they all are of the same nature. They are impermanent. They come They come, they stay for a while, and they go. And that's with everything. You can observe this in your life. So, one time, and this was before I was ordained, but I lived in a practicing small community, I had gotten upset and I was very sad about something. And I went to my room and I cried. And at a certain moment I stopped crying and I thought, I finished crying. I have finished crying. The sadness has gone and I finished crying. And then I wanted to continue and I thought, no, wait. Finished crying, stop. So I thought, I finished. So I went to do whatever I wanted to do. But I thought, I saw the impermanent nature of sadness and the impermanent nature of the need to cry. I don't always see that, but I remember this. And when I'm sad or upset or angry, I think it's impermanent. If I bring the mind back to the body, there is a good chance I may just notice whenever that emotion is on its way out. If I just leave it alone and don't get involved in it and don't embroider it, don't engage in it, but just be with it. Because that's possible, I know. It's a wonderful experience. I wish you all this as a Christmas gift. However, please enjoy sounds of the bell and walking, otherwise you won't be able to unwrap the gift. So let us enjoy a sound of the bell. So celebrating Christmas and the winter solstice and other festivals, they have become part of the Plum village tradition. And as I said, where there is a tradition, there are roots. And where there's roots, there's stability, there's nourishment, there's connection. There's a place of refuge. And maybe we can just do a practice together where we're going to take a moment, where we're going to look into ourselves to see and to find out what else or who we are rooted in. Whatever has nourished us in a wholesome way is a root. And whoever has nourished us in a wholesome way is also a root. We have kind of like umbilical cord, not just to our mother, but to Mother Earth. Maybe to, yes, our parents, our siblings, our friends, our sangha, a teacher, someone who has nourished us and in whom we could take refuge, in whom we are somehow rooted and who helped us to get rooted in ourselves. So maybe we can just take a moment to reflect and to honor this root. And we may see more than one root, more than one umbilical cord. We can just close our eyes. And we don't need to think, search. We close our eyes and see what comes up. How have we been nourished, and by whom have we been nourished in a wholesome way? As we honor those who nourish us and have nourished us, we also feel the gratitude coming up in us. We can always go back to those roots and always go back to those sources of nourishments. As I closed my eyes and I'm back to myself, I saw many cords going out in all directions. And one of the umbilical cords was to my aunt. And as some of you know, this is one of my aunts who was a nun, a Christian nun. She passed away just recently at the age of 99, so not 96 as I thought, she was actually 99, after 81 years of ordained life as a nun. And she was a very happy nun. She was kind of the what do you call this? The light of the party? There's an expression for that. Yeah. So I could not go to her funeral. She lives in Ireland. But my sister wrote me an account, of the funeral and the mass that they had. So the nuns, they have a great sense of humor. They had collected a few items that sort of reminded me or were connected to my aunt. And one of the things they had collected was a red jaguar. Yeah, Mary was there, a red jaguar. Can you imagine? My aunt, 99 years old, a little red jaguar to remember and celebrate her life. Because she loved to get into the car and go somewhere, to pick up somebody at the station, to have to do this. She just loved this. So the nuns decided it was going to be a red jaguar. That was there on the table. And I thought, that just honors her sense of humor. Which I know very well. And just nourished me a lot. And I have a lot of gratitude. So we can go home to ourselves and identify our sources of gratitude. Because where there is gratitude, there is no suffering. There is no suffering. And when suffering arises, and when gratitude or the seed of gratitude is strong, there is, even in our suffering, there is an awareness that we are more than our suffering. We are also gratitude. And that gratitude already embraces suffering. That is why we say where there is gratitude, there is no suffering, or there is more than suffering. It lessens the suffering. I would like to share something about bringing the light into the darkness. And I wonder if I still may take another 15 minutes or so. And I would like to invite Sister Nghiem. Sister Nghiem, still here? Yes. I would like to invite my sister to come and sing a beautiful song for us about bringing light into the darkness. As bringing light into the darkness is also the message of Santa Lucia. It is the message also of Christ, and it is also the celebration of the winter solstice. Ask.
I need support from my brothers and sisters.
They're there for you.
You can hear us, so we take a few minutes.
you, dear brothers and sisters, for bringing light into the relative darkness. Yeah, wonderful. There's a beautiful art form which is stained glass windows. Stained glass windows. And in Plum village we have some beautiful stained glass windows. Stained glass windows. In Sunha, in the Brothers Hamlet down the hill, in the lower Hamlet, and in Deer Park, in the United States, and in Magnolia. And in medieval Europe, stained glass windows were a lot in churches. It was also to bring in a soft light, but also as a means of teaching, because they depicted some story. Here in Plum village we also have it in our tradition, and it always touches me a lot when I see these stained glass windows. Very beautiful. And it's very interesting, that art, because the beauty of the stained glass windows reveals itself when light meets dark. So either it is dark inside it and it's light outside, and then inside you have this beautiful light and these beautiful stories and pieces of art. And when it's dark outside and there's light inside, then outside you see the beauty. Yeah. And I thought, oh, that's very interesting. So first we have to shine a light inside, light of the candle of awareness inside, that comes through our roots also. And then when it's inside, light, we send out the message, if you like, of peace outside. So first we need to find the peace inside, and then we give it outside. And what is so beautiful, I find, about this art is that the beauty is already there. That piece of art is beautiful. And it needs the coming of together of light and darkness to reveal it. And when we light the candle of mindfulness in us to shine on our suffering, it is the light of mindfulness meeting the quote-unquote darkness of suffering inside manifests itself. And the beauty is, inside is already there. It just needs the darkness and the light of mindfulness to come together. It needs the suffering and the mindfulness to come together to manifest. We say we are already nirvanized. It means we are already awakened. It's just a matter of allowing this awakening to manifest. And now we all know how to do it. Bring the light of mindfulness to shine on the suffering. We're angry, it's suffering. But when we meet anger with anger, it's not going to manifest inside. When we meet violence with violence, it's not going to manifest the inside of peace. Anger with anger is not going to manifest the inside of compassion, of understanding, of loving kindness. This is something that I practice to remember in my daily life. War is not going to end war. There's no way. War needs to be met with understanding in order for peace to be there. Understanding everybody of themselves and each other. But we do it again and again and again and again. but not here. That's why we are very, very happy when so many people come to practice with us. And we become, kind of lit up stained glass windows everywhere a little bit. And we will brighten the face of the earth. We already have the Buddha nature in us. It is already there. We don't need to create it. Just practice to reveal it. Just to bring the light into the darkness. And our Buddha nature is the capacity to awaken. There were times here in Plum village there was a time rather, I met a lot of pain in myself. Of course I started by thinking it was because of something outside of myself, until I realized, no, it's inside of myself. And I found a poem by Thai that speaks of pain and speaks of awakening. And every time when I was confronted with this pain, I would go to my room, I'd take out a poem, I would sit down and I would read the poem. And I did this for many times that I ended up knowing the poem by heart. So I found the poem and I would like to read it to you to end this talk. Because for me it was, all right, there is suffering. I mean, Thai clearly speaks of suffering here. And Thai calls on mindfulness, on understanding, in order to reveal the beauty. Thai calls on mindfulness to reveal the understanding, the insight. Maybe we can have a bell before I read. This poem became my refuge. And it helped me through my difficulties. Looking for each other. I have been looking for you, the world-honored one, since I was a little child. I started to hear the sound of your call from the moment I began to breathe. I have gone looking for you, Bhagawan, on so many perilous paths, encountering so many dangers. I have suffered on the path of pilgrimages, so much despair, fear, hope, and memory. In the most distant wilds and wastelands I have gone. In the expanses of strange oceans I have navigated. On the highest peaks lost in the clouds I have climbed. I have several times lain dead in absolute loneliness on the sands of ancient deserts. I have tried to hide back into my heart the many tears of rock. I have dreamt of drinking drops of dew, glistening with the light from faraway galaxies. I have left footprints on the heavenly mountains of the gods. I have cried out from the Avicii hell, exhausted and losing myself in despair. This is because I was hungry. I was thirsty. I was longing to discover the image of the perfect one through my tens of thousands of lifetimes. I feel deep in my heart the mysterious conviction that you are always there, O Blessed One, although I do not exactly know where. I have the deep feeling that for thousands of lifetimes you and I have been one, and the distance between us is no greater than a flash of thought. Just yesterday, while walking alone, I saw the old path strewn with autumn leaves, and the brilliant moon, hanging over the gate, suddenly appeared like the image of an old friend. Then all the stars excitedly heralded that you were there. All night the rain of compassion continued to fall. Lightning flashed through my window. A great storm arose, as if both the earth and sky were extremely angry. But finally, in me, the rain stopped and the clouds disappeared. Looking out of the window, I saw the peaceful, brilliant late moon. Heaven and earth have become truly peaceful. Looking at myself in the moon mirror, I saw myself, and suddenly I saw you, Bhagavan. You were smiling. How strange! The brilliant moon of freedom has just returned to me in just one moment all that I thought I had lost. From that moment on, in each moment that followed, I see that nothing has gone. There is nothing I need to recover. Every flower, pebble, and leaf looks at me and recognizes me. Wherever I look, I see you smiling the smile of no birth and no death. That I have discovered by looking into the mirror of the moon. I have seen you, Bhagavan. You are sitting there as solid as Mount Sumeru, as peaceful as my own breathing. You sit as if there had never been any raging firestorm in the world. You sit peaceful and free. I have found you, Bhagavan. I have found myself. I sit. The deep blue sky is silent. The snowy mountains are painted against the horizon, and the sunshine joyfully sings. You are my first love, Bhagavan. You are the love which is always there, immaculate and freshly new. Which means I shall never need a love that will be called last. You are the source and the stream of a spiritual life which has been flowing for millions of lifetimes in samsara. but which is always new, like the beginning. You are my peace. You are my solidity. You are my inner freedom. You are the Buddha. You are the Tathagata. Wholeheartedly, I aspire to nourish the elements of freedom and solidity in me and to hand them on to all species, today and forever. A happy solstice and a Merry Christmas to you all.